Lawson Bates, come on down. You're the next contestant in This World Has Gotten Stupid. Okay, you guys, I'm here. Suzanne Titmeyer. I used to work for Pathos, writing for almost 10 years. A column called No Longer Quivering. It was about the quiverful movement and religious fundamentalism, evangelicalism. Um, don't believe what I'm going to talk about today in any way, shape, or form. Not even Lawson. Thanks for joining me. I'm all confused as usual. These are just my opinions. They're not written in stone facts. I encourage everybody to do like our lovely Renelle Smith does. She tells everybody to make sure they do their research. And I'm a big believer in that too. You do your research. Bossy, I did get home safe and sound. And oh my word, it was quite the flight. Like I said, the one of the crews, the cockpit crew got mad and stomped away, and then crazy things happened. Hey, Big Mama. Hey, Tracy. So here we are. I got word earlier this morning. Well, actually, yesterday I saw something by Jenn of Funday Friday that she has won against Lawson Bates and the whole strike thing. If you didn't know, Lawson Bates was going around striking all these channels that had talked about his family and him. And he's heavily involved in this Medicorp thing. I don't know how. Hey, Christoph, I don't know how he didn't come after me, because when I was writing for Pathos that last year, I wrote a big long article about, with photographs, about what was done by Medicorp when they went down to the Bahamas after a hurricane. It was not flattering or good. Hey, Carol. Hey, Plays in the Rain. Hey, Java Man. There was this one flight on American, I think it was, where the pilot had a nervous breakdown because the Java Man. I was flying American, and it was a guy. It wasn't a girl that I had that had their meltdown and ran off and was like, I quit. You don't do that. I was so happy to see Jenn and James prevail. Funny Fridays forever. Bossy, so was I. I was excited to see that, because this is typically what Quiverful likes to do. They like to try to shut you down with legal threats, all kinds of things like that. So I'm really surprised he didn't come after me because of Pathos. Maybe he figured it wasn't even worth the trouble. And this is typical. I used to have a lot of problems with the Duggars saying that I was using their photographs and I didn't have copyright anything. So I showed up at a book signing and took pictures. The thing with Lawson seems to be, hey, Dances the Rain, so damn arrogant about everything. I mean, it's a fact his father sat on the board with the IBLP. I mean, we can point to websites that show that he was sitting on the board. Also, he was sitting on the board when Bill Gothard had his comeuppance. There's a lot of things that were just not good, not good. With KJ, you have to do your own research on everything she says, because she gets everything wrong. That's why I stopped watching. Java Man, exactamundo. And it's weird to be back here speaking Spanish again. I had to go pay a bill yesterday, and sadly, I had to write out the sentence on the back of the bill so that I could say it, because I know a lot of words. I know some short phrases. I can make myself known. But if I have to actually transact business like that, I have to write it all down. So I'm kind of wondering about Lawson and his little organization, if he's having some kind of a fit now, because they had gone over to the Ukraine. And I haven't heard anything more about that. I know that a lot of people have kept up with that. I haven't. I mean, I've kept up with the Ukraine. I have a friend, there's a missionary there that I talk to frequently. And it's it's an effing mess, according to him, everything he's saying. They are continuing on with homeschooling and with gathering at the church and all of that, and trying to avoid everything. But I remember Lawson Bates and his organization, Medicorp, going over there and thinking at the time, this sounds like a very bad idea. Not a bad idea to help out, because the Red Cross in Romania was one of the organizations that was going in to help. And I think that's an excellent thing. But I think if if you're going to be part of a health organization like that, you have to do it in such a way that you can handle it and that you're not clashing with other organizations. The Red Cross is one of the few that is allowed in by the West. I mean, not by the West, by the Russians. So I don't know for sure what they're doing other than transporting crap back and forth to the border. Aaron and Chad had a special cake at their wedding for Bill Gothard. Come on now, Dr. Payne was also on their board, but Aaron and Chad said they don't follow IBLP. I think it's kind of like now, and I don't. That's another reason why I think that Lawson was going after websites that were talking about him. You know how it is. You're best friends with somebody, and then you do something stupid, and they're all backstepping away from you. That's what I think has happened with Bill Gothard and the IBLP, ATI, particularly in the light of the fact that there are documentaries being filmed about it. I think what's happened is the IBLP has become persona non grata, and there are things that they do that they used to do are not quite as not as popular maybe as usual. Even though Jim Bob Duggar and Michelle Duggar are completely on board with the IBLP still. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. They had a special cake just for Gothard. And that's one thing when I was writing NLQ, I used to run into talking to some of the women who had been groomed as teenage girls as part of the IBLP, ATI, Bill Gothard thing. There are so many women who have not stepped forward, and there are around 40 that have stepped up publicly enough to accuse him of those things. So I think this is Lawson trying to distance himself from all that crap that his family has been involved in, and of trying to avoid being negatively spoken about. You know what I always tell people when they tell me, "Oh, I don't want you speaking about me, blah, blah, blah." It says, then don't do those things. Don't do those horrible things that people are going to talk about. Just don't do it. It's as easy as that, Lawson. Just don't do those horrible things. So I've not kept up with the Bates. I know a lot of people have, but for me, they were always minor off to the side circling. So that is my thoughts on Lawson and everything he was doing in that way. I got to talk about insurance just for a second, because that troll is talking about her insurance paying for her lawsuits, even if there's a conviction. Well, I got news for her. Somebody came on Twitter was talking about that. Someone who actually does fool with insurance. Oh, they did. I know they canceled. I know that Up TV canceled the Bates show. The Bates show wasn't as interesting as Duggar's. I don't think the Bates are as naturally as interesting on camera. That's just me. I feel like my mermaid glass. And the Bates have had their own problems. There's the linking with the IBLP and the Bill Gothard scandal, Lawson's Medicorp. There's been a pile of things to not be happy about. Yes, Java Man, that's what the insurance thing is about. Back when I wrote for Pathos, shortly before a certain person came on board, all of us were told to go talk to our insurance agent about this defamation of character thing, about seeing that we had proper insurance to make sure none of us lost our homes, because that's really the enormous thing. For most of us, that's our biggest asset, is our house. And to have that asset put in danger it's a pretty significant thing. I went to my insurance agency and I talked to the lead guy. I mean, I was an insurance agent, and I just went in there and asked the questions Pathos said to ask, including asking about business insurance, about defamation. And basically what I was told at the time is that no such animal exists, that the only business insurance, home insurance, whatever, they'll protect your home in case that sort of thing went on, was that if you genuinely did not know you were defaming the person, if you thought that was the honest to God truth for whatever reason, and you could prove that you said these things in good faith, they can't take your home. And that's what I was told. And that is the only way that insurance will cover your ass for defamation. They won't cover you for defamation if you're saying stuff that can actually be proven that you knew it wasn't true or it was awful. So good times, yeah, Java man, before the certain person came aboard, most definitely. So my understanding was to just start shouting out falsehoods with no idea if they're true or not. Yeah. Minnesota bankruptcy laws have a $250,000 homestead exemption, so they're not going to take her house. Yeah, I doubt they'll be able to take her house too, because they're very, 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 very funny about that. Karma Kid, yes, hey, yeah, I'm home. Yeah, once I started about Amber Heard's insurance covering her not covering her case, I was like, then you know that certain troll has no chance of having her stuff covered either. And that was my understanding all along. And I kept telling people, look, I would talk to my insurance agency, and they're saying there's no way to do that. That could take the Bentleys. Grace, you just missed me talking about how the vaulted insurance she's bragging about won't cover won't cover defamation cases if you can't prove the things you said were in good faith. It just will not. And somebody said there's a Minnesota bankruptcy law, $350,000 homestead exemption. So she won't lose her house, but she'll lose pretty much everything. So who knows? I feel kind of bad for her, but I'm glad that the child won't end up living in a cardboard box under the interstate. They could not just take Todd's guitars, they could take all of his woodworking tools, his leather working tools. They can take all of those. Those Bentleys. They can't take that new patio she's putting in. So she's covering a new case, something Marvon McCrae. Now, I'm not totally up to speed because I've been spending a lot of time laying in my bed. I've got a kidney infection that's happened of all things. She hasn't lost a lawsuit yet, Grace, but they are starting to win their way through the legal system. And the 7M announced a timeline, and their case actually goes to court before Todd Chrisley's. So I thought that, utterly fascinating. Todd Chrisley's lawsuit is scheduled for June 2023. 7M is scheduled for April. So we're going to see some action here pretty shortly. I predict she's going to try to drag her feet with 7M like she did with Todd Chrisley. But the difference is I don't think that they're going to stand for it. So that'll be good. It'll be good for her to actually get this done with. And my hope is that if it's found that there's defamation, that YouTube takes the appropriate steps to deal with somebody on their platform that is defaming others for money. She is like a bull in a China shop. So her vaunted insurance is not possibly going to pay for anything. I mean, we have to look at Amber Heard's. She probably has better business insurance, and it's not paying for a dime of her Johnny Depp suit. So I'm kind of curious about that because, once you have a lawsuit against you and you don't have everything in a corporation, or maybe the corporation gets sued, you cannot just lose what you have then. They can garnish your wages going forward for many, 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 many years. It's just crazy. And if you're paying for a high-priced mouthpiece, you're paying for a lawyer, you can really run some crazy major amounts of money. That's just how it is with these things. And I wanted to also add a little bit about, let's talk about Lawson. Various fundamentalists have tried to take down their pieces. there was a pastor by the name of Tim Bailey out of Florida who has a blog, and it used to be the Bailey blog, but now he's got the, I think it's the Warhorn or something, Warhorn, something like that. And I used to occasionally pull out articles and break down the theology and say, this really sucks, because a lot of times it'd be him doing what I always call the good Christian man, over the top Christianity thing, where he was proving his manhood, because it was all about how guys who wear skinny jeans are gay, guys who have beards are gay. So Bailey's sense of masculinity was so small and so limited that he started putting it on men who didn't live just like him as being effeminate and gay. Not that there's anything wrong with being gay, not at all. So why was he doing that? I have to conclude a lot of these pastors like that, these guys, their own sense of masculinity is so fragile and so small that they have to constantly be putting the masculinity of other people, even if there's no truth to it. So I'm watching him do that all the years. And so I wrote a number of articles based upon his own words, because that was what I used to do, take somebody's own words, look at them, say, hey, this is why this is wrong. This is why this is sort of wrong. He didn't bother speaking word onto me because I'm a mere vagina possessor. I have no power in his eyes, no voice, no authority, no nothing. Just like in most of these good Christian patriarchs' worlds that don't have a good sense of masculinity. So he went to my editor and wrote a series of emails, and they were funny because at first he was just bitching about how I was defaming him. The editor pointed out that I was just taking his own words and giving my opinion on them, and that this editor wasn't taking a damn thing down. He started putting down the editor and saying the editor wasn't doing his job right. He started throwing a hissy fit and a half in emails, including going up the chain, I understand, of Pathos, and throwing more hissy fits. I saw the ones he sent to my editor, those emails, and laughed so hard. So many of these guys just cannot tolerate any slight pushback at all. Their own sense of self is so fragile that can't even deal with anybody having any kind of different thinking than them. I know she hates it when people do that, but you know something? That's truly what commentary is. And if you're trying to break down theology, it's actually the best way to do it. Lawson struck Funday Fridays. Luckily, Jenn and James got their strikes removed and will be back soon. Yes. So that's awesome for them. And I heard that the strikes in some of the other channels failed as well. Good. Insurance. So the lawsuits are going to continue, and we're just going to sit back and watch. Well, I don't take any joy in her going through trauma and pain and other things. There kind of needs to be a reckoning. If you're running around doing bad stuff, there needs to be a reckoning. I mean, there is. That's one thing I know about life, is there are consequences for our actions. Like I have this kidney infection now because I did the stupidest thing possible you could ever do when you have a bladder infection. What did I do? The day I flew, I slept. I slept on the first plane. I slept on the second plane. I didn't get enough water in me. I drank very little. I slept through the drink carts. I think I had like a small bottle of water and a tiny cup of coffee that all day before I got here at like 4 p.m. and started drinking. And it was too much. That's a natural consequence of my actions. I did stupid things. I still do stupid things. I know we all do. I'm dealing with the person that house set my house who's mad over some stuff they did that has actual consequences. She was mad because she took out my ladder, which she did not have permission to do. It actually says the piece of paper I got her signed it. It showed what parts of the house were off limits. And I have keys for everything here. And I talked about not touching our tools, not touching anything like that. She pulled out our 15-foot ladder, opened it, climbed the mango tree to pick mangoes. I have a picker that extends almost 20 feet. You can do it from the ground. You don't have to go up in the tree. And she did this and then started to defecate on her and worse. So she's now upset and thinking that I owe her some kind of money because she might have been in. I mean, no cleaning was done. I mean, she didn't pick up after herself. She fooled with stuff she wasn't supposed to. And now she's trying to come at me because she thinks that I may have exposed her to a disease by some action of her own. You know, the best thing we can all do in life is to own what we do and to move forward from there and to say, yeah, I did that stupid thing. Yeah, it was wrong, and go from there instead of blaming everybody else. I mean, I see this culture of blame, and it's just like, I don't get it. If insurance covers what she does, I'm sure a lot of people may want to purchase a policy. Java Man, they might, but I don't, there's not that kind of insurance out there. I thought you were going to say the worst thing you did was you forgot to pee. Brenda Lee, no. Ain't any of that going all around right now because my husband's still in Montana. So I caught a really bad UTI in February, apparently, and ended up in the hospital because I didn't know I had it. Apparently, when you get past 60, there's something called silent UTIs. I had a silent one for the first time in my life. And now it's like I'm bouncing GI, kidney infection back and forth endlessly. It doesn't matter if they give me IBV antibiotics. It doesn't matter if they give me the shot in the ass that bruises me up. It doesn't matter if they give me orals. It always comes back. I'm sure her insurance policy was pricey. I've owned a business. I've had business insurance. And most of the time, this is not something that business insurance is ever going to cover. KJ is on the record as saying that cannot happen. Yeah, well, yeah, I know she said that, and that's silly because that's clearly one of the ways you can get bladder infections. You can get UTIs. One of the things I'm watching the monkeys, they're just climbing on the roof of the cabina, my guest house, and going over to pick mangoes again where the girl got. They were like, let her rip on that poor girl, which I feel sorry, but I feel sorry for her. But you know, like I said, life is a teacher. We learn things when this crap goes on and happens. Yes, and she should learn. Well, if she was having sex with Todd, she might actually know that. One thing is for certain, I got a bidet attachment for my toilet, and I am happy. So hopefully that'll cut this. But back to those natural consequences. We're going to see with her natural consequences. Yeah, I'm curious about that too, Java Man, because of the long conversation I had with my insurance company. And I had just a very long, oh my goodness, I wish I could take a picture and show you guys. There's a mama with two babies on her back going up the tree. You don't see twin monkey babies very often. Oh, they're so cute. And they've never peed on me or anything worse, for the record, because I have sense. I don't go in the tree to pick mangoes when they're there. I don't go under the tree with the leaf blower or any of that. They don't like loud noises. They don't like loud people. They don't like being messed with. If you don't mess with them, they won't mess with you. And that's a lesson that troll really needs to learn too. If you don't mess with people, they don't mess back. Now, I'm just going to say her Marvon McRae stuff, she's doing the exact same thing she did with the Gabby Petito case. And she's hooked up with Molly Golightly, of all people. Molly Golightly is slightly, let me come up with a nice way to say it. A good reporter always shares both sides. Java Man, and not the truth. So um, I haven't looked much at the Marvin McRae thing. I started to this morning, and all I saw was gossip sites that were talking about it. That was it. And I was reading all these misspelled, screwed up articles that people had put together for the gossip tea community. I was like, what? So I don't have all the information on what's going on with that and how it happened or any of that. It sounds like a hot mess from what I did see, something about the military and their helicopters, which is something I actually know a little tiny bit about because my husband was in Fulda, West Germany, and that's how long ago it was, West Germany, in a battalion that was a listening unit that listened to the Russians. And he did that all day long. He put on his headphones and listened to the Russians. Many times from helicopters, from the Apaches, from the other ones. I don't even know all the names anymore. I got the one that installs under the seat as far as the bidet attachment. Oh, Brenda Lee, it is wonderful, isn't it? Hey, Beth, it's the best. It is the best. And so I'm going to go ahead and go. I've been rambling along too long with this. Again, I don't know anything about that McRae case. I would encourage you not to listen to her coverage of it, especially when she's with Molly Golightly. One of the things that Molly Golightly did that just blows my mind was during the disappearance of Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie, she went outside Brian Laundrie's house and was screaming. She has traveled to some of these things. She traveled to one day of the Johnny Depp trial. She's just inserting herself left and right. So maybe her and KJ are best buds. They are just hanging together and doing their thing. I don't know. I just know that people that do that kind of thing, I'm just kind of like, I will back off, because they are obviously got some issues going on. Okay, you guys, I'm going to go lay back down in my bed. Thankfully, I bought a heating pad, a new one when I was gone, and that seems to help so much when you have weird pains. It always does. Okay, you guys, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys later. And yeah, I got to think some more about all this and all these lawsuits and things. Oh, and I said I'd tell Jimmy Carter story. Oh, let me tell that before I go. I didn't get a bidet for so long, assuming the cold tap would be a no-go. Finally got one to try. My kids sorted and surprised it was painfully cold or anything. I highly recommend. Same here. Same here. Okay, so people on Twitter were asking me the day I shared a picture of Jimmy Carter and his wife Rosalind. She was walking with her walker. He's sitting in his wheelchair. They're smiling at each other. I think it was their wedding anniversary, maybe. I just got to say, they're both very wonderful folks. Jimmy Carter may not have made a very good president. There's so many things about him I like in his post-presidential life. Working for Habitat for Humanity. Him and Rosalind lived very humbly. My husband had something of a correspondence going with Jimmy Carter, and every time we were anywhere near Georgia, he would say, let's go to Sunday school with Jimmy Carter and Maranatha Church in Plains, Georgia. So we would go, and it was always interesting. He was a good teacher. He was a real good teacher on Bible. Yet he also was against this whole toxic patriarchy thing. He even split from a church that taught that. Yeah, he didn't try to end America, most definitely. He was actually trying to resolve some of the things that are facing us now all the way back then. I'm talking about climate change and some of the other things that happened. January 6th, I know. Thank goodness. He is a genuinely nice guy. So we've gone to the Sunday school a bunch of times there. And I always said the biggest compliment I ever had in my life was from Jimmy Carter one time during one of his Sunday schools, where he asked a very obscure Bible question, and I knew it. I was the only one in the crowd that knew the answer. I thought, well, darn, all those years in Quiverful paid off and knew my Bible upside down, forwards, backwards, whatever. Even playing online Jeopardy with people. If the Bible category comes up, it's like, boom, I know all those questions. So he gave me a compliment and said my knowledge of the Bible was very, very, very good. So I was really, really just jazzed about that. Of all the compliments I've received in my life, and even with the Carters, because he can stay afterwards and have pictures taken. And my husband just worshiped the ground that Jimmy Carter walked on. And I always liked going to see him because his Secret Service agents were nice and respectful. They were wonderful people. They would tell you how great the Carters were and how they treat people. And just so many times I'd go up to take a picture with the two of them and be standing kind of respectfully off to the side because they tell us, don't touch Mr. Carter, all that. Rosalind would say, don't do that. Come here, come here. I can't tell you how many times that woman threw her arm around me and pulled me in for the picture close. And they were just nice people. That's all I can say. I've spoken to them many a time now. And every time I see a picture of the two of them, I just smile. The Camp David peace accords were when Carter took, was it Menachem? He took Israel's leader and the leader of Egypt and put them together at Camp David and started talking about, if I recall correctly, I may be wrong about who it exactly was, trying to broker peace in the Middle East. I mean, he was trying to make them resolve these things, or at least make a commitment to resolve those things, which benefits the world when there is peace where there has been rancor before. So, Prairie, what happened politically in Nebraska yesterday? Peace treaty between Egypt and Israel. That's what I remember, Java man. Egypt and Israel. And it was a major step forward where there had not been one for years. We need to return to that kind of mentality where the U.S. is interested in making peace. So I'm going to go ahead and go. Like I said, I've just felt crappy. I'm laying around. Tomorrow I have to mop to get the house ready. Tuesday I have to go get my husband. I was going to borrow a friend's car, but after riding in it yesterday and saying there's no air conditioner, guess what I'm doing? I'm going to go pick up a rental car. We need to go to all the dealerships on the way home anyway and talk to everybody. The GOP establishment in Nebraska was overthrown. Oh my goodness. I'm going to have to go Google that and take a look. Take care, everybody. Love you guys. And just try not to suck. I mean, I'm trying not to. I'm trying to be nice and not be stupid. I got my stupid moments too. Okay, you guys. I'll see you later.